Yes.
You mentioned the outsourcing of intelligence gathering.
Yeah.
Is there anybody in the federal government that is vetting the information that they're getting from these private sources?
That's a super question, because what you see in intelligence is the same sort of phenomenon. I did not write about this in my book for a simple reason. I just found it enormously difficult to figure out what was going on, because everything is shrouded in secrecy for obvious reasons. It's intelligence, right? The Department of Homeland Security was a little better, but not much. But so you're seeing the same sorts of things happen in the intelligence realm, and the reason it's happening is you need to get things done, and there aren't the people in-house to do it. So I see this as very much a dynamic of, for the most part, well-intentioned people trying to act in what they think is the government's interest, but there's just one problem. There's no mechanism for knowing whether you're right or wrong about it, and that's what we need to fix. So this is I mean, the extent to which intelligence has been outsourced is truly remarkable, but I can't cite numbers for you like I've done for the others, because it's all shrouded in secrecy. So that's all I can really say about it. I would like to know more, and we should pressure our government to tell us more. Yeah.
I just wanted to observe what seems like an irony, that in Afghanistan now, the new strategy seems to be the Army becoming the development agency.
Is that your sense of things?
I mean, it's sounding increasingly like that. We've got to make friends, and we've got to dig wells, and we've got to do all of that.
Yeah.
So what would be your proposal? That that's work that AID should be doing instead, and the military should go back to fighting and do less of that and turn more to the AID? How do you make sense of that whole development?
It's really important for decisions that need to be made right here and now about Afghanistan. And what I can tell you about it is my sense is that the military doesn't want to be doing those things.
Right.
You know, they want to go.
They don't know how to do it.
Fight and kill the bad guys. And you know, they realize their limitations, but the problem is this is the agency that has all the capacity, right? So you know, you could tell the State Department, why don't you provide security in war zones? But then the State Department has to build up its capacity for security and replicate what's going on in the Pentagon. So the phenomenon you see is everybody exploits the Pentagon to do everything. I mean, look at Katrina, Hurricane Katrina. Look at Haiti relief. There they are. It's just because they have this extraordinary capacity. But I don't think that's what they want to be doing. To me, the bigger question is, when you talk about doing post-war reconstruction right, I think we need to ask the bigger question, which is, how likely are you to be successful with development projects in a war zone? You know, maybe some of this money could be better spent in places where the United States has not invaded the country. You know, because there's this obvious boomerang effect. You can make the military act nice, they can go around helping kids cross the street to school and doing all kinds of fantastic things. But there's still, you know, foreigners occupying another country. And so to me that becomes this insurmountable dynamic in some ways. And that's the question that needs to be raised.
Right. Also, we have, what we're finding is that the soldiers, I mean, there's real question whether the military has the capacity, the real capacity. I mean, we're beginning to hear more in the press about retraining soldiers in a different kind of way, which is kind of making the development workers, but it's not, you know, it's just starting, and these are people who signed on for a different purpose, and you know, all kinds of obstacles along the way.
Well, that's another fascinating debate within the Pentagon, because when they plan for the future to keep all of us safe, they're still really envisioning, you know, needing the capacity to fight a two-front war, you know, conventional war against another state, an enemy state. Yet the wars they've just fought have all been asymmetrical wars, counterinsurgency operations, but they're not really reconfiguring to accept that as the wave of the future. And so that's an additional wrinkle that's fascinating. Yeah.
Can you tell us a little bit more about Blackwater?
Yeah.
The history of it and the precedent. For me, it was quite a surprise to see what I assume was a major mercenary group operating. Do they report to the Department of Defense or to the State Department? And How big are they, and is there a precedent for the use of such an operation in previous foreign wars or whatever?
Everybody hear the question, armed security contractors, like Blackwater, who hires them? Why are they being used? And I think that the simple answer is that, there was a trend that started under the Clinton administration to hire local nationals to guard U.S. embassies, to contract out for security in stable countries. And that worked really well. Then when the practice was carried over into a war zone, the problems really became much more challenging, largely because the chances of these security guards shooting and killing other people rose commensurately. And so the people, that's the thing a lot of people don't realize, it's not the Pentagon that's hired Blackwater and DynCorp. It's the State Department.
So their role was limited to guarding the embassy and...
Yeah, they're keeping the embassy secure, they're keeping U.S. diplomatic personnel secure, some development personnel secure as they go around doing their work. It's because the context is so dangerous that they're needed. You could ask the question, why isn't the military providing security? But I think there's this conception that, okay, the military wins the war, we've won the war, now we're in the reconstruction phase, and this is the State Department's job. But the State Department doesn't have the capacity to do it. They don't really have a choice but to hire out for help.
So they're really not a mercenary force.
Well, they sort,
Traditional.
in a war zone, they kind of become that because, they're in the line of, they're carrying big weapons and they shoot them on occasion and people get in the way, It becomes this very blurry, and that's why I have problems with their use, because I think that, holding up this distinction between the legitimate and illegitimate use of force on which the whole state system is based is probably in the interest of the United States. What I like to ask myself is, what if everybody did as we did? We'd be back to the Middle Ages. And that wasn't a particularly prosperous time. So that's why